I'm going to do it as a landscape so that you fill the full screen this
Thank
time.
you very much. I fill most people's screens one way or another. Right then, today what we're going to do is first of all to say, don't panic. Stop and start to think. Because what we want to do is to remind you that everything that's happening outside of this polytunnel and this dreadful situation, nature will just carry on. So what we're going to do is, whilst keeping our distance, 6 foot canes have gone a bomb. Everybody's walking around
Prodding
with
each
6 foot
other,
canes.
yeah.
It's not very pleasant.
Yeah.
So what I've got here is a tray that is recycled from one of our lovely plot holders who brings these up from where she works. And what I'm going to do now is fill it with multi-purpose compost because we're going to do spinach. So we've got some multi-purpose compost here, and I'm just going to fill it up and nicely across the top. Make sure it's all level. We do like evens, we do like lines.
You like lines.
I like lines.
I'm not bothered
I can't
about
help it.
lines.
I think it's because I used to get a lot when I was at school.
I can imagine.
So all I've done is I've patted it down. Don't fill it, I don't say don't very often, but don't fill it right to the top, because when you water it, it will just go gushing straight over. Now today, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that we do get a wet bottom. And how you find that out is if you watch this, there you go, it's dripping through. That means that the compost here is going to be thoroughly wet, and that's what I want it to be for the spinach seeds. So now pop it on the table, and I've got Apollo here. So don't forget to put the seeds into your hands, that way you can control the amount that you're putting onto the compost, because they're a right fiddle if you don't. And then sprinkle them across the top. And don't forget, each one of these is going to be a plant, so don't overdo it with the seeds. Put the spare ones back, like so. Keep those for another day. A few that are stuck to my wet hand. There we go. And now all I'm going to do is get a handful of compost, dry compost, and then sprinkle it across so that they're nice and snuggly. There we go. And again, if I'd filled it too high, I wouldn't be able to get any more compost on. And I don't want to do that. Now, over again with our recycling. Make sure that you label Apollo. Put the label in, because you always think you're going to remember what you've planted, and you never do. Might be an age thing. Get that off the side. And I've got a bird's bag here.
You like a bird's bag, don't you?
I do like what's in a bird's bag generally. Turn it inside out so that any crumbs that might have been are on the opposite side. And then all I'm going to do is slip the container in there like so, and then double it up underneath. And what that does, it's created a little vacuum. And the nice thing is that it's like a mini greenhouse. Pop that on the windowsill, and within 7 to 14 days you'll have little seedlings sprouted all over, and that is the start of our new season for spinach.
And are you going to leave them on the windowsill then, Elaine, or are you going to put them in on your plot?
When they actually get to the size, say that big, what I'll do is I'll prick them out and then I'll put them on the plot. And I love spinach because it's actually one of the first things that we can get going on the plot.
Yeah.
They're not hardy. This variety isn't hardy, which means to say if we get a good frost, it'll kill them.
Yeah.
But I know that you next door will have some in your polytunnel.
I will.
Like Kev next door. So we'll just go and borrow a bit.
Borrow.
You won't even notice, will
So
you?
you'll nicely give it back, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In pakoras, I think you were talking about, weren't you?
I love pakoras, and I love making vegetable pakoras, and for me spinach is the basis on which the pakoras are made. I am going to do, I think I've done a video before about that, but I will actually make some pakoras, and you'll see how valuable the resource of both chard and spinach can be. The other thing is that you can add it to so many things, and you can eat it raw, full of vitamin D, and vitamins are what we actually need at the moment to fight off any viruses. Right, what else I'm going to do here is the same method, is that we've got mixed salad leaves, cut and come again, and Kitchen Garden gave us some free ones, so it's a salad leaf, exactly the same principle. Fill almost to the top, sprinkle the seeds over the top, and then just put some more compost over. Make sure that it's all bedded down nicely into the bird's bag or any other bag, it doesn't really matter, and then just tuck it under, making sure that you've labelled each of these containers. Otherwise we might have a mix-up completely.
And I was going to say, what's good with the cut and come again? Right, I'm starting again. Sorry, I pressed something I shouldn't have done. I don't know what I did. So what's good with the cut and come again is it will come again. And what I tend to do with the cut and come again is I will start another lot in about 2 weeks' time, so that by the time you've cut your next lot, when it's big enough to actually take and eat, then you've already got some more on the go. So, I mean, you can do maybe 2 or 3, 4 even sowings, so that you've got a constant supply. And what it does is, obviously, it will come again. And it's one of those things you could even grow on your windowsill, which if you've not got a greenhouse, or if you've not got a space, you know, outside to grow it, it works really well on the windowsills. So,
and for me, Julia, it's at this time when we're all stuck indoors, for one reason or another, but we are going to be indoors or within our own home parameters. Now, if you're anything like me, I do tend to hoard certain things like these and like these. And so what I would say to people who do very similar, as long as you've got a bag of compost, we can have some fun and frivolity. What I am going to say to you is, stop including people like Jill, new plot holder. Don't start planting everything in a hurry, thinking, well, we're going to get behind. We will show you what to plant and when. Although the Growing Academy is short, we're going to slow you back down and do everything at the right time. But instead of doing things in the polytunnel, you'll be doing them at home. So at home generally is a lot warmer, so let's slow right down. But in between times, go and find things like this, because you'll need them.
Yeah, and we don't want people getting ahead and then actually losing things, do we? So it's always best to start a bit later, because things will catch up.
Definitely.
But if you don't, and you actually plant too early and it goes out too early, it'll kill things off, or the plants will go into check, and they then will be slower than the ones that you plant later on.
So it could be a waste of time.
Absolutely.
But that's not what we're about. We're about doing the right thing at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the Prime Minister said that the other day. I didn't mean to copy him, but I think he might have copied me, actually.
I think so, yeah.
So slow everything right down and do everything so it's all on the windowsill.
Yeah.
But doing peas and pea shoots, we've talked about them before. Julia, it is so simple. Now, I don't know if anybody's got the pea dance off to an art yet.
You could have fun doing that, couldn't you?
In itself, that would keep the exercise for the day, wouldn't it? That is my exercise for the week, actually. So what I've got in here are bigger peas. And these are just the dried variety. We don't want the soda, we'll chuck that on one side. But these are just the dried variety that we make mushy peas out of. They only cost a few pence, but I'm also going to advertise here these peas that I've had from Mel at the Fig, and she sells them, organic peas, and we're going to test her peas as well. She could be the peas knees. Right then, so all I'm going to do is to fill these with compost, take them to the rim on the pot. That's all I'm going to do. And now I'm going to put some of Mel's peas on here. I've got probably about 12, something like that.
We're not sowing these to actually grow pods, are we? We're not sowing them for that reason. We're sowing them to make some pea shoots.
Yeah, that's right. And the children love doing it. But actually, at this time of circumstances outside, I think some people are a bit fed up and they've got nothing to do. So what we're going to do is to put a bit of joy into people's lives, watching the seeds come up.
Yeah, I'll tell you what else. I think, you know, for people who've never grown anything before, these are something that actually are easy to grow and come up quite quickly, don't they?
Yeah, fantastic. And we're going to put them on the conservatory windowsill. So all I've done is I've put them on the top there. I've got a handful of multi-purpose compost, put it on the top and press firmly down. They do like to be firmed into their little bed, like so. So I'll squash those right down, okay? Yeah. And now what I'm going to do is just to put them here and just give them a good soaking, because the peas won't grow without water. And then what they'll do, just like before, the water will start to come through, and that will show me that the compost is completely wet. We could be here a long time.
So they're going to go on your windowsill.
They're going on the windowsill, and again, you can put the bird's bag or any other plastic bag over the top of them. If you haven't got a plastic bag, use some cling film.
Yeah.
But anything that will let the light in, that's really important, but keeps the warmth in too.
Yeah.
And it will stop them from drying out.
I'll tell you what we've got a lot of. Sorry, my videoing's gone a bit wonky there, but we've been donated a lot of these kind of tubs here.
And these tubs have had tomatoes in, and you can get them at this time of year with strawberries and so forth, if you can find them in the supermarket. But again, because of the boredom threshold, I've actually taken all these home, or loads of them home, and I've set my husband on making holes, drainage holes in the bottom of them.
See, you were thinking of them for a different reason. I was thinking for these, we could just pop them over the top, and we've got a mini greenhouse there.
We have.
Look
There
at
you go.
that.
I'd actually put it like that. That's
Yeah.
it, done.
But we,
There you go.
but we, you know,
Perfect. Round of applause, Julia.
thank you very much. Inspired on a Wednesday morning.
There you go. So we'll see what happens, and it's a Wednesday today. Let's see how long they take to pop up.
And we're going to carry on doing videos, aren't we, quite frequently,
Yes.
to keep everybody updated. We'll have a little tour of the plots when it's a bit nicer outside,
Yeah.
and we'll try and encourage people to kind of hold back, but also look at what they can be doing now. So
Very important. But hold back, nature will carry on, and we'll carry on planting up in here. And I'll just get my 6-foot stick here.
shall we get the kettle on now?
Go on then.
All right.